Hello and welcome to the Math 3 homework help for next week, which is January 16th. So I'm going to do two problems from each section. So here's our first one. It's asking us find the value of f of negative 2. Well, if we want to find f of negative 2, that means when x equals negative 2, what does y equal? So I'm going to go to the graph. I move my mouse over to where negative 2 is on the x-axis, and then I go up and find out that the y value is 3. So that means I'm just going to plug in 3. Submit answer. Yes. And there we go. We got it correct. Let's do one more like that. So here's another example. It's asking us to find f of negative 4. So once again, that means x equals negative 4. Y equals, go back to the graph. I go to negative 4 on the x-axis right here. I follow it down to right here, which is at negative 5. So my y is going to be negative 5, and I can type that in. And there we go. It is correct. So awesome. That was evaluating functions from a graph. Next up, we have interpret features of a graph. Interpret features of a proportional graph. This is pretty much asking us to find slope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the topic right down. So there we have our topic. And I'm just going to read. A grocery store sells sliced salami by weight. The relationship between the amount of salami in pounds X and the total cost in dollars of the sliced salami Y is represented by the graph drawn in the XY plane. So, if the point 4, 20 lies on the graph, what does it mean? Well, all I have to do is label it. The 4 is the X. The y is 20. Every point is always xy. And in this case, it was read that x is salami in pounds. So I'm going to write salami. And LBS is the abbreviation. And y is cost in dollars. So what this is telling me is that if you have 4 pounds, then it equals $20. So I'm going to look. 4 pounds of salami costs $20. 4 pounds of salami costs $20 each. 20 pounds? Nope, 20 pounds. So it's between these two. It's going to cost a total of $20 because 4 pounds of salami does not cost $20 each since it's salami in pounds. That means 1 pound. So I'm going to submit the answer for this one. Hit yes. And notice it'll show me on a graph that this is a proportional graph, which means that for every one the y goes up, or it just means it goes to the point 0, 0. So if we do a second problem like that, this time they gave us a graph. They want us to interpret. So Ashley just got a new job. The relationship between the number of hours she works and her total earnings y is represented by the graph below. A point 8, 140 is labeled below. What is true about it? So I'm going to write down that point. So that was number 1. This is number 2. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to write down that point 8, 140. And I'm going to label the x and the y again. And in this situation, x is hours and y is money. So, it's talking about unit rate. Well, unit rate is slope. So we need to find the slope. They technically only gave us 1.8, 140. But if you look at the graph, it goes through the point 0, 0. And if we recall correctly, we just subtracted 2 points. So that's 8, That's 140. I've always taken my purple pen, put that underneath, and now we have a fraction, 140 over 8. Well, if I just divide them both by 2, I get 70 over 4. Well, they're still divisible by 2 because they're even. So I'm going to divide by 2, and I get 35 over 2. Now, I can't divide 35 evenly by 2, but if I look, we're talking about slope, which is going to be the rise over the run, so money per hour. So this says right now, $35 per 2 hours. If we wanted it per 1 hour, we would say that's just $17.50. So the unit rate is $17.50 per hour, or option D. Submit it. There we go. Next up, graph stories. I like graph stories because you are literally clicking. So on this one, what I'm going to do is just read. Andrew left his house at time 0 and drove to the store, which is 10 blocks away at the speed of 5 blocks per minute. So we know he drove 10 blocks away at the speed of 5 blocks per minute. So within 5 minutes, 5 blocks per minute, he needs to go 10 blocks. So that means it took him 2 minutes and he went a total of 10 blocks. So I'm going to go over to 2, then go up to 10 and put a dot. Oh, I did not have my 0, 0 dot in there. So there we go. So in 2 minutes, he went 10 blocks. Then he stopped and went into the store for 2 minutes. So that means he did not move anywhere. So he's just going to stay a straight line across since he did not move. From there, he drove in the same direction at a speed of 5 blocks per minute until he got to the bank, which was 10 blocks away. So once again, he went another 10 blocks in 2 minutes. We go over 2 minutes and we go up to 10 more, which is at 20. He stopped at the bank for 3 minutes. So that means we just click 1, 2, 3 minutes. Then he drove home at a speed of 4 blocks every minute. So now we need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1 for every 1 minute. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 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 So there we go. So this first part is him driving to his store. Then he stayed there for 2 minutes. I guess he went inside and bought a Pepsi. Then he drove another 10 blocks to the bank and stayed there for 3 minutes, depositing some money. Then he drove home. Submit answer. And there we go. We did it correctly. All right. Let's do another one of those. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. During a snowstorm, Indigo tracked the amount of snow on the ground. When the storm began, there were 2 inches of snow on the ground. So now we're not starting at 0, 0 because there was already snow on the ground. So we're just going to go straight up to 2. At 0 hours, 2 inches. Snow fell at a constant rate of 1 inch per hour until another 5 inches had fallen. So that means every hour we went up 1 until it went to 5 inches. So that means it took 3 minutes to add 3 more inches. Then the storm stopped for 7 hours. So that means it's going to be a flat line, but it does not, the snow is not melting yet. So we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it started again at a constant rate of 3 inches for every hour for the next 6 hours. So that means we need to go up 3 times and over 1. So we're going to click 1, 2, 3, 1. That's 1 hour. We have to do this 5 more times. 1, 2, 3, 1. That's 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 6. So there we have it. As soon as the storm stopped again, the sun came out and melted the snow for the next 3 hours at a constant rate of 5 inches. So 5 inches per hour for the next 3 hours. So that means I need to start here, go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Then go down 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. All right, so there's our graph. I submit it. Oh no, we got it wrong. Let's see here. What did I graph wrong? Oh, man. I didn't go over for 5 for that one. So the first part, it said it snowfalled for 1 hour, 5 inches, 1 hour. So it took 0 to. It takes 5 hours for 5 more inches. So it's not just until it went to 5. It's for 5 inches total. So you got to make sure you read carefully. And that's where I messed up. Now, our last one is interpreting graph stories. So here is a beautiful graph. Bentley left his house and drove to the store. He stopped and went inside. From there, he drove in the same direction until he got to the bank. He stopped and went inside the bank. Then he drove home. The graph below shows the number of blocks away from Bentley's home is X minutes after leaving his house. So how long was Bentley at the bank? Well, was the bank the first or the second stop? So he left his house and drove to the store. The store is the first stop. So we're looking at the second one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. 6. And there we go. It was correct. 6 minutes. Let's do another one. On a spring day, Braden noted the time of day and the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. During that time, the temperature rose, stayed steady, and fell at different rates. On the set of axes below, Braden created a graph of the temperature over time. Which of the following is true about the temperature at 7 p.m.? So here's 6 p.m., here's 7 p.m. If I follow it up, the temperature is dropping. Dropping. So that means it's either dropping 3 degrees every hour or 1 degree. Well, if I look right here, it fell 1, 2, 3 degrees. So it dropped 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Submit. And there we go. So that was our homework help for Math 3. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message on Remind. If not, have a good day. Thank you.